Hi everybody, it's Ben Ash from Sam Ash Music here with another awesome live stream. We've got our friends from Yamaha again. This time, out of their vast array of products, they've got guitars, they've got saxes, they've got keyboards, but today we're talking about drums. And most importantly, we're talking about the DTX6 line. There's been a lot of speculation, there's been a lot of what's the new thing about the DTX line? How come you came out with it just now? We're going to get into all these questions and more, but let me introduce our guests. We've got Joel from Yamaha, we've got Matt from Yamaha, and we've got Mike Bennett, drummer extraordinaire, who's going to be demonstrating all the things about the DTX6. So, gentlemen, introduce yourselves. Hi there, first off.
Matt, you want to go first?
Hello.
Yeah, Matt, it's your turn.
There we go.
Sure. Hey, Ben, great to be here. Nice to see everyone today, or unfortunately not see everyone today, but yeah, excited to be here and happy to talk about the DTX6 lineup products.
So what do you do for Yamaha so people have an understanding?
So I'm the marketing manager for drums. So that covers everything from acoustic drums to electronic drums. And yeah, been with Yamaha for about 2 years now, and it's a great company. Unfortunately, the majority of my time has been spent under the COVID umbrella. But yeah, now that things are opening up, really excited to get out there and start playing again. And I've been playing drums mostly my whole life. So I'm, like most other drummers out there, excited to just start gigging again and getting out and playing.
Awesome. What about you, Joel?
Well, my official title is Marketing Development Specialist. That spans both acoustic, DTX drums, and then also percussion. So I straddle kind of the line between what we call the educational percussion and DTX and drum sets, which is fun. It's a lot of work and a lot of different experiences. But on this side of things, a lot of what I work with Matt and our team on, and the artists, like we've introduced Mike Bennett quick here, but we just work on creating a great marketing message and making sure that we have the right product out there for our customers. And again, it's about building awareness. Yamaha does a lot of things as a company, so as a marketing development specialist, it's really about that awareness of what we're doing in drums and percussion that we're trying to develop here. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. We're grateful to have you guys. But last but not least, we have Mike Bennett, and he's got a DTX6 right in front of him. And if you don't mind, not only can you introduce yourself, give us a little bit about who you are, but let us hear how this thing sounds.
All right, let me introduce myself first, because there's a couple moving parts to make this happen today, so that way you guys can hear the best audio quality possible and also hear the most clear explanation. So not only can we tell you about the kit and illustrate the sounds of the kit, but also be able to answer your questions and stuff too. So a little bit about me. I've been a Yamaha artist for, I wouldn't even know how long now, but it's been a great ride with both the Yamaha drums and the hardware, as well as working with the DTX division. And I've been really fortunate to not only use the gear on the various tours that I've done over the past many years in different styles, touring, television, all that fun stuff, but also, these guys have been kind enough to include me in a lot of R&D projects. So I've been very fortunate to get my hands on a lot of the gear and see their process like as it moves along. And it's been really exciting to see that of all the different ways that this gear can be fun. It can be utilized in a professional setting. It can be utilized in a recreational setting. And it also can be utilized in an educational setting, all with ease of use, zero compromise of sound. And there's really, I know it can sound like a hard sell on all this stuff, but it's really easy and it's really fun. So I'm excited to show you some of the stuff today and answer some questions. And I know Joel and Matt will be able to tell you even more, because I'm a little fuzzy on my product numbers, but there's some different configurations. So we're going to be looking today at one particular setup, but Sam Ash also has a couple different options for you to take advantage of the electronic drums, as well as this brand new DTX Pro, which is the new exclusive 600 module, which if anybody is familiar with the 500 series, like this is kind of the evolution of the 500 series, which is one of my favorite, most practical, I've actually used that series on a lot of big stuff, and it's super cool. So I'm excited about this. So let me show you a little drums, and you can hear a little bit. We're just going to start at preset number 1. So the same thing that when you turn on your DTX Pro, this will be the first sound that you'll pull up and be able to hear. So So that's just the first basic startup that you're going to get right here on this DTX Pro. And the cool part is, for years with dealing with electronic drums coming into this, it was so much of taking a synthesized sound and trying to, sorry, let me check my settings, make sure I have that right. Do I have the right audio settings set, guys?
Testing. Sounds good. So for the viewers at home, to understand why we're just talking and saying testing, we got a bit of a glitch with vocal echoing. In order, basically, to blame Restream, we either can have great sounding drums and then all of us sound like we're echoing, or we can have great sounding vocals and then the drums sound not as good as you would think they do. And right now, we're weighing more for the drums to sound better than us. So if you don't mind having some patience with us, between drum demos and us talking, that's all we need from you. Otherwise, let's get into the thick of it. So first of all, to bring people up to speed who maybe play a different electronic drum kit, are looking for their first electronic drum kit, maybe didn't even know Yamaha made electronic drum kits. What is the history of Yamaha? And some say it's taken a long time to bring a new product to market. So why has it taken so long to bring this? And why did you guys feel after, again, a whole year of COVID and whatnot, that, all right, DTX6, the people need this electronic drum kit? I know it's a lot of questions to ask, but I'm very curious if there's a way to encompass all that in one or two answers.
Of course, yeah, we can definitely sum it up in a few ways. I mean, the timing, yes, it does take Yamaha a while. It's a very thoughtful company, right? When we do things, we want to make sure that everything is correct. And there's pluses and minuses of being at a big company. Obviously, a lot of inputs go into making products. One of the biggest pluses, and it comes through, as you just heard, thanks again, Mike, for playing through those sounds. We're a drum company or a music company that does drums, and it's not just the electronic drums, but acoustic drums. So, we really get the input of making sure that it's not just fantastic electronic drum sounds, but the acoustic drum sounds are going to really resonate as well and sound fantastic. So a lot of time and thought goes into each individual sound, as well as all the components. We'll get into a little bit later about how the kits are configured. The one you're seeing that Mike played, the DTX6K2, you'll notice some things about it that are really made in a way that's thoughtful for every type of drumming, no matter how your configuration, how you set things up, but also your playing preferences, sound styles of playing and all that. So a lot of thought goes into our drums and bringing them to market. And the timing, yes, I think every company's dealing with, whether or not to release a product during COVID times. And actually this kit wasn't bad timing at all, in the sense that this is a great time for electronic drums, in the sense that we're not playing out as much, rehearsing. This is a great kit for rehearsing. It's, with the pads, very silent. It's a great kit for rehearsing. And once we get back to playing, it's also a kit that will expand, and a really great kit for playing out and as well. So it covers a great range of not just styles, but your drumming abilities. So from beginning drummers all the way up to more advanced drummers, this is a great series of kits that covers all those sort of bases. Joel, you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think that was really well done. And the only thing I would add is that when we're designing new product, it's a very internal process. There's a Yamaha chip that we built, samples that we create with our acoustic drums. For instance, Absolute Hybrid Maple, the first kit on this, is actually a Yamaha Absolute Hybrid Maple kit that was recorded in the real world studios in Europe. So there's a lot of work that goes into creating any Yamaha product. And the truth is, whether it's an acoustic drum, a DTX product, there's probably 3-4 years of research and development that goes into every aspect of it before it even becomes kind of a series or something that we can actually show people. So that level of dedication is kind of an internal process, and we call that kind of Yamatizing something. It's not just another drum kit that's out on the market, but rather something that plays and feels very authentically as an acoustic drum set. Electronic drums there's a lot of different customers for this, and I think we have to start with the why. Why do we make electronic drums? And a lot of it is because it's a great practice tool for any acoustic drummer. If you look at this as a much quieter practice alternative, as some people say, nobody really cares about your vintage kit and how it sounds at 10 o'clock at night, including your spouse or significant others in the family. It's really about giving that opportunity for more people to practice more and making it fun to do so. And I think the DTX6 is a great extension of our brand in the sense that it's simple and it's fun to play. And that really is kind of that kind of sweet spot, if you will, for an electronic kit where you don't have to fuss with it too much. We don't have to get the lab coat on to actually get it to sound good. It just sounds really good and is fun to play. And it's easy even just to make some minor tweaks to it as well. And the other thing is, there's a creative side to electronic drums. Of course, the history of electronic drums, we kind of started out with kind of some of these digital sounds and these pew pew kind of stuff, and we paid a lot of money to do that. But as it's evolved, we really ask a lot of electronic drums to be more like their counterpart in acoustic world. But I think with the DTX6 and even kind of its brethren, kind of as we develop the EAD10, there's a creative side to drumming. And for instance, if you took an electric and acoustic guitar, they're kind of two different things, right? Of course, the electric guitar is really amplifying an acoustic guitar in a sense. But then when we started to add effects and all these different things with the amplifiers, we still really started to create different sounds. And now electronic drumming is really kind of stuck in maybe two ranges. One is, well, we just wanted to emulate acoustic drums, which is really do if you think about the way drums create sound. But the other sense is that creative side. How can we enable more people to be creative with drum sounds and create their own sounds rather than just replicating what's on the record, for instance? So I think this does a really good job of straddling both. One, you can go and turn the on. It's program kit number 8. And if that doesn't look like something you've heard on a Totowell, it's really close. It's really fun to play that. But then there's also effects built into the middle that really kind of take you into a completely different space. So the why is to help people create music. And then the extension of that is really, one, to emulate acoustic drums really well and make it fun. And then also to have a creative side.
So, I mean, I'm not a drummer, though I'd like to be, and maybe much to the chagrin of my wife. But that, I think, is anything anybody would want, especially parents out there. If you happen to be watching and you want to get your kids a drum kit, right, you may want to go with the electronic drum kit, especially if you live in a smaller home or you just don't want to have to deal with the noise, let alone what time of day, just at all. Sometimes you just want to be like, sure, look, put on your headphones, and then you can play as long as you want. So that's great. And nowadays, while, mind you, Mike, it sounded awesome with the acoustic sound setting, that the fact is, if you listen to a lot of music nowadays, especially pop music, while acoustic kits are still beloved and whatnot, I mean, trap music alone is just still programmed drums. But some people may not want to be there finger drumming a lot of stuff. They want to be the guy behind a kit at a live show. And if you're able to do, say, trap drums, you can do that with this kit and still play like you're playing a real kit. Absolutely. So the fact is, while it's great to know, because that's every time the drummers want to hear a drum kit, they're always like, especially an E-kit, they go, what does it sound like as an acoustic kit?
Right.
So look, you heard it from the beginning, and if you missed it, there's an opportunity to rewind and rewatch this. It sounds great. So we got that cleared. You have a great sounding acoustic kit. But if you want to get fancy and do things like play with trap drums or add really cool effects to acoustic kits or combine sounds or use it, arguably, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a MIDI controller, if you will, if you wanted to program it into a computer. That's so, right. And it's at a very affordable price. We'll bring up the Sam Ash page in a bit. But before I do, I almost forgot. If you're just tuning in or you didn't even hear about this, we're giving away a Yamaha FP9 drum pedal. And you might be going, is it the chain drive? Is it the direct drive? Guess what? If you win, you get to choose which one. Unfortunately, we can't give away both versions, but everyone has their preference. So if you are the winner, voila, we'll contact you about which one you want. To enter to win, check the description either on the Facebook live stream or event page. It's also its own dedicated post with links in our bio, both for Twitter and for Instagram. So if you're on Twitch, just go any of those places. It's very easy to enter, and there are tons of ways to get bonus entries so you have a bigger chance to win. So, that being said, and that out of the way, You know what? Forget it. I'm going to leave it on there. So in case people just tune in, they're like, oh, what? Giveaway? That's nuts. So besides the fact that it's a very easy to use kit, pretty much anyone of any skill level can jump right in. It's at affordable price. Are there any other cool features? Like I know when one of our friends, Steve, had done a video for us in the past, he showed us the Wreck and Share app. Is that something that is applicable to this drum kit?
Yeah, absolutely. This has both a USB out that will send the MIDI signals, as well as it will send the stereo audio signal, much like the 402 and the EAD do. So what that allows you to do is basically take our Wreck and Share app. And what's really cool about the Wreck and Share app, if you want to make music videos and just reference, I'm old enough that I had to drag my drum set out of my basement and go and play in front of people for them to see me. In today's world, I can just make a video and a million people can pop in and watch it, right? So if you want to make music videos for YouTube, any of your socials, just pick one. You can easily do that with the Wreck and Share app. It's an Android or iOS free app for your phone or tablet, your device. And basically what it does is it'll take your music that's on your device, that music, it'll set up a click track for you. You can slow or speed up the track if you want to. And then you can actually use the camera from the device and the audio that's coming out of your DTX kit or EAD, and it'll sync both of those together. And then you can actually mix it right on the phone. And for instance, I have some friends that I'll send, hey, I just played this tune, check it out. You can even text it to your friend if you want to. So it's super easy and fun to make music videos. And it really makes playing along with your favorite tunes just it's a great practice tool, one, to hear yourself, whether you're playing that groove right, but it's a whole nother thing to see yourself. Imagine a dancer that didn't have a mirror. Well, this is really bringing to light a lot of things as I practice and watch myself. It's like, oh, well, no wonder I'm missing that. I'm in the wrong place, or I'm playing that wrong. So it's a great device for practicing, but also sharing on socials all of your greatest hits. And you can even import tunes. For instance, if a guitar player sends you a track, you can import that in through your iCloud or your Google Play, Dropbox, and then you can play along with that and you can send it back to them. And whether you want to send them the drum track or you want to send the drum track with the guitar part or whatever it might be, it's really easy ways to make scratch tracks as well. And the DTX6 sounds so good. It blends so well with acoustic music that you really don't have to do a whole lot of post to it to send somebody a scratch track and be like a Steinberg program. I can actually use and adjust the kit modifiers, which is another unique thing we haven't talked about yet. I can actually do that while the drums are playing, so I can kind of find that perfect sound, dial it in on the module, and then go ahead and play a song with it. So from a creative tool, it allows you to really dial it in. So,
So I'm also just going to add, forgive me, I want you to say that, but if you're watching and you're a heavy TikTok user, I know Yamaha doesn't have a TikTok account yet. Pointing at you, Yamaha guys, you should make one because it seems like the place everyone is. But I'm just saying this. This for a drummer, there's probably no easier, better way to record yourself playing drums and then sharing. Again, it's on your phone with pristine audio quality, and it's already attached to the video, so you don't have to go and do a post-production thing. You could just throw that onto TikTok. Voila, you're golden. So maybe I'm just throwing this out there, do hashtag Wreck and Share so that Yamaha can see your awesome YouTube video, your TikTok videos. So if you want to know how it's spelled, it's REC letter N SHARE. I'm just throwing this out. I don't even work for Yamaha. That's not my job. That's Matt's job. He's the marketing guy. I'm just helping him, and I'm not expecting a paycheck at the end of this. But yeah, let Yamaha see it, because I'm sure they would love to share this kind of stuff. They want to see all these people using the Wreck and Share app. But Matt, you were about to say something.
Oh yeah, on top. If you're not at that level yet and you're not ready to share your music with the world, it's also a great just training tool. We have baked into the DTX Pro is the 10 training functions, and on top of that, 37 different songs. I mean, everything from rock to jazz to reggaeton, anything you want to play along with, EDM, it's all in there. So if you're at a beginning level, another great thing about Wreck and Share is from being an acoustic drummer and going back to when I was a kid learning a song, it was hitting play, reverse, and then play again, and trying to figure out that fill over and over. It was time consuming, or you had the record that you had to slow down to figure out those fills. With Wreck and Share, you can slow it down right there in the app, and you can actually figure out what the drummer's playing to get those fills solid. And then playing along with it, I mean, it's a great way to go back, review your performance. And then on top of that, like I said, the training features as well within the DTX Pro. Whether you're beginning, there's great tools for that. But even an intermediate drummer and you just want to sharpen up, there's some really fun things you can do with the click track, with changing where the click comes in, the speed of the click, even how the click comes out. It can be vocals, someone counting off 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you're into something like that, it's it's a great way to bake the preferences into how you like to play and how you want to kind of not kick it up a notch with your own playing. Because like we said, it's we have the 402 series, and that's a great beginning drum set. But say you are a beginning drummer and you want to, you're going to be in it, or you have a little more spending cash, you're going to be sticking with drums for a little bit longer. The starting point of these drum sets with the DTX6K, it's a great starting point with the $999 map price, the base price, and then starting there, it's a great kit for a beginning drummer. But then if you want to move up and you have a little bit more for the 6K3, $1799 is another great price point for a kit with this module, which is really, professional. It says it's in the title, right? DTX Pro. This is a really powerful module that's gonna, if you're a beginning drummer playing on this, it's probably more than you're gonna need. But trust me, you're gonna grow into it. You're gonna get better, faster playing on this module, and you're gonna learn a lot about drums, about electronic drums. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, I can even show everybody. We've got the page open. I mean, look at that. Look at that sexy looking kit. Not safe for work, this kit, am I right? Look at that. Like the little stripe you guys put on there. But yeah, so we've got, this is on samash.com and in stores. Just ask. $9.99. That is not a threatening price for a kit like this. This is a hell of a kit. I mean, look, you've got Mike. He's rocking this kit. He loves this kit.
Yeah.
And and now, Mike, do you have the 1, 2, or 3?
This is the 2.
That's the 2. Okay, so I'll show them that picture.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the 2. And and you'll notice what sets this apart from the 1, which you'll see on the 2 and the 3, is the ability to have an actual legged hi-hat stand and everything. So you could so you could use your hi-hat stand. I believe in the package it may actually come with one. I'm not sure. So you actually still have that realism and feel of putting on your bass drum pedal using your hi-hat stand, which can be pretty specific to a lot of guys, especially making the transition from their acoustic kit over. That's an important thing. So you have the 3 different options. Here's the 2, and even at the 1, some guys are also into that hi-hat that is just not on a stand and is just on the rig. So it's just more than a level, it's an option. Like, I have certain kits that I've had with DTX that I actually like playing with that pedal and everything. So, you kind of have 3 different options of what kind of car you want to drive with this module.
That's nice. Yeah, speaking of the module, I'm just going to pull it up here. It is, I'm a guitar player, and even I can't argue that this is as simple as it gets. Like, There it is. I can explain. I didn't even get the instructions from anybody, but there are the kit modifier knobs, which, call me crazy, if I turn those, it'll modify the ambiance, the comp, and the effect of each. Masters for the master volume. Audio is, I'm assuming, if you have audio coming in through the auxiliary, or the click if you have a metronome. You got a beautiful LED display, so you can see what kind of kit you're using and any of the modifications you do. Menu button, store button, exit. I mean, it's pretty simple. Even just that column on the right for the metronome, you can turn it on and off. You can change the tempo. You can change the what kind of click. And I can't imagine how you can make it simpler than that. That's as simple as it possibly gets. And as far as ins and outs, you've got, what's this? Oh, that's just the front one.
Yep.
So I'm assuming most of those are just to connect the drums. You have to put them in those inputs. Yep. You've got MIDI out. So what would the MIDI out do for a drum kit like this?
Yeah, MIDI out, you'd just be able to send the signal to like a VST if you'd like. USB is kind of eclipsed most of the MIDI pin systems, but it's a little bit more efficient, and it sends the audio signal, so that's probably the win. So that the square USB, which is called to host, that's the one you would use to go to your computer or you use it for the rec and share app between the module and then also your iOS device or Android device. And then the 2 device, that's going to be for the USB drive. If you've got a separate drive, you can bring in tunes through that. You can record right back to that and have, play with your favorite music and record right back to that USB drive, which is cool. Or store your kits or bring in WAV files if you want to bring in your own files from, say, maybe a kit that you sampled or maybe something from one of your favorite VST snare drums and things like that. So, yeah, pretty simple operation. And you've got an extra input on the back there to add if you'd like. And then there's also an extra input in the kick tower. So it's pretty expandable. And I think what Mike was getting at, too, and just to bring this up for everyone, too, even if you get into the $999 price point, you're not really boxed in. Sometimes at those price points, you're kind of boxed into a kit, but you could get larger surfaces if you want. You can add a cymbal if you'd like. You can see this is the 6K3 that I have in my living room, and I have it set up as a 1 up, 2 down. You can adjust it with this rack, which I think the rack is, again, this is Yamaha hardware. This is Yamaha stuff. It uses the same hex rod that you would find on our drum sets, so it's compatible with all that stuff. You're not getting kind of generic hardware with this. This is Yamaha stuff. So I think that's another important point. Some people will probably comment, hey, I've seen these pads on other kits, and that's true. The 500 and 502 series uses some similar pad configurations, but they're just bulletproof. We've been studying the pads for a long time, and the textured silicone is a great feel. Transitions really well from the electronic drums to an acoustic drum player. It's very simple, and they're bulletproof. You can be pretty aggressive with this kit, and it's going to hold up for you. So I think that's another thing, especially for some of those customers that are looking for maybe a little bit of step up from something a little smaller, something that doesn't hold up as well. But you know what I'd like to hear, and I'm a drummer, and I like Mike's drumming. By the way, I've seen Mike several times. I think we got to get Mike. I think we can get Mike again. Yeah.
That's that echo.
Yep, I'm back. Hold on.
All right, let's hear this. Nice. So one thing I want to mention, Mike, thanks again for that demonstration.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We have some really cool things. I want to point out the kit modifiers. And Ben, you alluded to this a little bit. We've made a really cool system that's very tactile in the sense that you can adjust the sounds very quickly. So the first knob, maybe, Mike, can you show us a screenshot of your module? That might be the best way to handle this. So people can, there we go. We got this. Look at this. Look at that thing. So you can see on the left. Uh-oh. Go. You can see on the far left we have the ambience.
Okay, so we still have it.
Oh. There we go. Okay, back. We got to switch. Oh. Is it me? No. So Ben's work.
Why don't we just have Mike do the kit modifier? Show it off.
We'll explain after the fact.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me here without echo? Or close enough? Because right now, even if it's a little bit echo, I'm going to start with the ambiance, which is on the far left of the module here. And I'm going to slowly increase it just with the kick drum so you can feel it.
Perfect.
Nice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So just real quick, just add that with the ambiance there, it was hard to, unfortunately not able to kind of walk you through at the same time, but we're affecting the depth of the kit, which is a lot of the realism. So in an audio perspective, that's kind of like almost like that feeling of putting in your room sound and making the kit bigger. Like, so if you're a mix engineer or a professional audio dude, you can there's already a lot under the hood just within the module. And then, so you can kind of adjust the size that you want to deliver the drums. From a fun player perspective, and what makes features like this, which are also like the features on the or the EAD, really cool, as a player, you can kind of change your experience with the kit. Because what kind of comes into our ears is going to affect how we play. So just with the turn of a couple knobs, even having these 3 simple knobs here and the ambience alone, you're kind of creating your environment to where you're going to be able to not only have a lot of different sounds, but a lot of different playing experiences when you're just sitting down behind the kit, enjoying the instrument as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's super simple to use. Literally a turn of a knob, and this makes me excited to get this drum kit at some point. I mean, it's a killer kit, and what we've proven is not to name drop too much, but I'm doing it on behalf of Mike Bennett. I mean, this is a guy who's played again with Hilary Duff. I mean, that alone, I don't need to say more, but Hilary Duff, Richie Kotzen, Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. You got Alicia Keys, Bruno Mars, Common, Prince, Slash. I mean, I could stop there, and I'm gonna just because the list is extensive, but he's making this kit sound great. But even if it was given to me, who I am not a great drummer in any respect, I could probably sound as good as Mike, maybe if I had enough practice under my belt, but sound quality wise, I would sound as good as Mike. I'm not saying technically I would sound as good as Mike. I'd be lucky if I could. But that's what's great about this kit. And this was a lot to Joel's point, was that it's also not a kit, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we're always afraid if we buy something, it will either be not cool in a few years or it will be obsolete in a few years. We worry about that with my phone alone. I'm like, once I break it out of the box, I'm like, I'm going to have to get a new one in 3 years, aren't I? This isn't going to hold up. Even my iPad is not holding up. So the difference, though, with this kit is based on the durability. Like, Mike's banging the crap out of those drums, but he could still do that 10 years from now. And with the ways and the fact that you have these USBs so you can bring in new sounds, you'll never get bored of the sounds. You'll always, as long as you have the imagination of new kits and ideas and sounds, you can do that with this kit. So whether you're a beginner who just wants to mess around in their house, or if you want to take a legitimate e-kit on the road, where if you're playing for whether it's a rock band or backing a hip-hop artist or whatnot, you just go, okay, I got my USB, put those sounds in, tweak this knob because I'm in this setting, whether I'm in a coffee shop or whether I'm at an arena show, you're golden.
Yeah, which I do constantly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's and more to Mike's point, is that you should have a e-kit that's versatile, and as you can see, it's also not cumbersome. It's not a lot of parts that, one, will take up space, and two, will take up space in your van. So if you're driving to a gig, there are some e-kits that are out there that are fantastic, and I'm not here to knock them. But realistically speaking, it's very difficult to bring those kits anywhere, that unless you have a team of roadies doing it for you, it might not be worth bringing them. But this is a good kit. It's not it's not a beginner practice kit, though it's good for beginners, and it can handle any professional kit and rival them sound quality wise, playability, and especially, as we've seen, the fact that not only can you make great sounds, but with the Wreck and Share app, you can actually do things as far as showing the world that you're a great drummer without, again, having the technical hassle of, okay, I filmed this, then I recorded the audio, okay, now I got to put it into my software so I can line them up, and then I got to do this. No, it's just done, go. Because while you have 20 videos out there from the Wreck and Share app, there's still someone struggling with their first one. And right now, content's king. You got to get as much content out there. I mean, the TikTok algorithm alone is like, if you don't post more than 20 videos a day, no one's going to watch your stuff. So this will help.
Yeah. And I think to that point, it's interesting because you talk about anybody that's edited video or you've tried to edit audio and post, you know that you can record something and you can spend hours on the backside of it. And that's not really what this is about. You know, what we're trying to create here is something that's fun to play, easy for people to create different sounds and create videos and do the work and have fun. And like I said before, there's a majority of drummers, and Mike can show this on the module real quick, between the kit modifiers, those 3 knobs with the light rings, shows you exactly where you are, how much you've got on there. Compression is a great tool for drums because it kind of compresses that signal. It gives you the best of drums is kind of the way I describe it. The ambient sound from 0 to 50 is basically the actual recorded sound. So at 0, we've got the close mics. It's really stuffy feeling, you know, exactly on top of the drums. And then as we start to turn that knob to 50%, you get this room ambience. All the room mics start to get added. So all the drums start to come alive. Gives you this kind of stereophonic, like you're in a room with the drums. And then from 51% to 100% of that knob is proprietary Yamaha DSP. It is reverb, but it's kind of an algorithm that uses kind of that mic setup that we have and starts to make the larger room as opposed to just adding kind of effect. Reverb, if you take reverb and you just add it to a signal, that's just changing the signal flow and adding kind of some space to it, right? But the ambient sound is the actual recorded sound that's in the room, which is a really cool thing because it gives you a very authentic feel. And then when we get to the effect knob, now you have some effects you can play with. Flangers, delays, all sorts of really cool things. You want the levy breaks kind of like Echoplex kind of vibe, you know, on the drum kit. You can do it with this kit. And it doesn't take you hours to set it up. It's very simple and easy to use. Then the next thing I want to point out, because what do we want to do as drummers? You know, what are we doing this for? It's to play drums. We don't want to, I have a family. So if I get 10 minutes to sit down and play drums, I just want to play. I'm not here to program electronic drums. I'm not. I love what they do for me, but the convenience is being able to play quickly. And you know what? If I don't like a sound, so Mike, if you hit kind of that instrument button on the left, the soft key, if I want to change, say that snare drum doesn't sound very good or it's not to my liking, I can go and hit that button. I'm one click away from getting the sound source, and then anything I hit pad-wise will track with me. So if I don't like the floor tom or the kick drum, I just play it, and now I can start to go in there and change the sound of that snare drum. Or if I go to the second screen, Mike, if you hit the middle F key, now I can change the tuning or the muffling or the sustain of the cymbal, whatever it might be. So it's literally like 2 clicks away, and I can change the whole dynamics of the kit or just an instrument. Maybe I don't like the hats on this kit, but I want a bigger hat, darker sounding hat. It takes me just a couple of seconds. I'm not going, like I said, I'm not putting on the lab coat. I've got the beakers and the whole thing. It's really easy to do. Now, Mike, if you can show us on, if you can exit out of that, and you can show us on the far right, you'll see if you hit the far right F key at the top, the bottom, there we go. So now I've got kind of a mixer built into this thing, very easy to use, very simple to just kind of tweak things. And Mike, if you hit the button again, if you hit that again, now this is my main effect. You can see the M up at the top. That means my main effect that's controlled by that effect knob on the thing. And then we also have 2 other effect layers. So think about this as like you have a main guitar pedal and then you've got 2 other guitar pedals you can turn on. And then I can actually program. So for instance, if I want an individual effect on just the snare drum, I want a flanger, for instance, just on the bass drum, I can do that. And if I want, cool. I want a delay in the cymbals, like the hi-hat, you know, kind of walking on the moon kind of vibe, I can do that as well. So it allows you this creative tool that, again, yeah, a lot of people aren't going to want to just throw a flanger on the entire kit unless they're trying to replicate something with that. But maybe they just want to add it with a fill for the toms to add some more kind of vibe to it. This allows you to do this quickly and have fun doing it. So I think those are the things that I look at. You know, when I sat down with this for the first time and started playing drums, I was like, wow. First of all the stock kits in there, the 40 stock kits that we have, sound amazing and blend really well with specific tunes. There's some really cool, there's a Swedish metal kit, which just screams Iron Maiden to me. And the steel ring kit, you could use that in any 90s tune. The black vinyl kit, like I said, kind of a Picaro vibe to it. The 26-inch kit, of course, a Led Zeppelin kind of vibe. So some really fun things to play along with, and just really, because the modules and the samples are so authentic, you hit a cymbal and you feel it and sustains. And now this module's got a lot of horsepower. So what that means, you know, how do you equate horsepower into a module? 256 polyphony. That means that I could stand on basically 3 pianos and play all those notes at the same time. And this module will be able to play all those notes, 256 notes in one, if I wanted to do that.
Some John Cage stuff right there.
Right. Now, we're not doing that, but why does that matter to a drummer? Like polyphony is a keyboard term, it's MIDI, and it's all that kind of stuff. Well, what it means is that if I hit a cymbal and that sample is really long, I can hit that cymbal again, and it's still kind of starting to swell and build, whereas a lot of boxes or modules, they don't have that much polyphony. So when you hit a cymbal, it has to cut that sound off to play the cymbal again.
Right, so especially if you're doing like a kind of...
Right.
I don't know the term. I'm a guitar player.
And even some of the ambient sound, like when I hit the tom, the snare drum kind of buzzes a little bit. It's got a nice little vibe. You can feel the drums in the room breathing. When I hit the snare drum or kick drum, the floor tom kind of rings a little bit. So you kind of have that feeling that you're in the room with the drums. And that's what that means. The other thing is, another creative tool that Yamaha does on a lot of drum kits is 4 layers per sound. So every pad, I could layer 4 sounds on that. So for instance, I have what I call like an old 80s rock kit. Kind of sounds like some Mountain Studios back in the 80s, right? I've layered 3 kick drums and 2 snare drums, and I've layered 2 sets of toms on each tom. So everything's enormous, right? But the idea is that it's so easy to do that. Now I can play along with some of those 80s tunes, and I have kind of that sound. And it just makes it fun. This is one of those kits where you sit down and you play it. And then if you actually go to your acoustic kit, you feel like you've practiced. And that's another thing that I think when we talk about the textured silicone pads, the kit you're looking at behind me is the 6K3. And the real difference from the kit that Mike has, it has the real hi-hat stand like Mike's. It has a KP90, which is a great kick tower. It feels really nice, real spongy. Get doubles out of the KP90, you can get doubles out of a kick drum, which is cool. And then you've got textured silicone all the way around. And what Yamaha does with the textured silicone or the TCS pads is really... it's a feel that's somewhere in between. A lot of mesh is springy. Just imagine somebody, instead of running on a treadmill, you're running on a trampoline. It's not going to really help you in the real world. With the textured silicone, it's got a little bit of give, and it sinks in a little. The stick sinks into it a little bit, and you have to pull back out of it. So what that allows me to do is when I go and play my acoustic drum set, my hands feel like they've had some practice. It feels pretty authentic. And Mike might even be able to comment a little bit, because Mike teaches as well, some of the tools that are in electronic drums, of being able to kind of turn down maybe the kick drum and snare while I practice the hat shuffle. Or for instance, I want to hear the ghost notes. Maybe I'm practicing Rosanna as an example, and I want to hear kind of the ghost notes and that accent out of the snare drum. I can turn the rest of the drums down with the mixer and kind of focus on that sound, but I'm playing everything together. And you can kind of feel how that fits into the ensemble. That's something that's kind of hard to do with acoustic drums. And I think those kind of tools, along with the built-in Met, you've got programmable metronome, which you can, I think it's got 32 settings. So if I find that perfect 7/8 setting for that tune it takes me a while to put that in there, I can store it. So that way I don't have to redo it every time I go back to practice. Some really thoughtful.
You also didn't mention the Joel, the PCY 135, so the ride too. You're mentioning the zones on all the pads. Also the ride symbol on all 3 of the sets, the configurations. You've got that. It's not just the 3 zones. So you got the bell, the bow, but you also, depending on where you hit, and maybe when Mike plays, we'll get to hear a little bit of that. But the positional sensing, so that depending on where you play it, if you play it a little lower down, it swells a little bit more. So a really great feature, especially if you want that really authentic sound. So yeah, I'd love to hear Mike play through some of the kits and kind of show off some of the things we've been talking about.
Absolutely. Just real quick on that. I want to say, as for being an educator and also being a student, and no matter what level you're working with students, these drums kind of offer a level of realism that as an educator, you can still point in on exactly what's happening, and you can teach people how to be musical and how to find sonics and how to get a big sound. And, without zero compromise to your technique or really anything you would teach on the acoustic kit. Because something to keep in mind too, just as a player and with a lot of students, drums by nature are just big and loud. And when you're trying to learn an instrument, really you're at your most vulnerable point. So it's kind of scary sometimes to just go hit those drums and hear that sound coming out. What's great about using this at all levels, from like the beginner student to the professional level, these drums really flatter everybody's sound. So as a student, real quick, you will you can hear the sound of the drum, and it's going to get you excited, and it's going to get you aware that moving between an electric kit and acoustic kit is going to be a real easy transition. And you can do it kind of in the privacy of your own headphones too, and take some risk and really find your legs playing the instrument. So, you know, I kind of like the little bit of solitude and freedom I get from putting on the headphones at times, and really being able to play and get better, improve.
That's a really good point, Mike, too. And we know from the pianos, like a clavinova, where you can play it acoustically, but you can also plug in the headphones. Electronic drums and some of these tools that we have now, too, especially when you're beginning, you know, maybe you have siblings in the house or your parents, you know, it's a lot easier for a student to practice when no one can hear them, right? You know, and kind of find their way, feel comfortable about, and then when they're ready, they can share that sound, which is really cool. For years, you know, I used to play an acoustic drum set down in my basement to records, and all my family heard was just this whap, 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 whap. They didn't know what song I was playing, right? You know, but just think about as a student now, Mike, or as a professional, even like you, being able to go like, hey, check this out. I just played with this tune. How cool is that to be able to share that with your family and with your parents, maybe if you're a younger student. So
it's great. You're making music right away. And that's the important part. Like, you know, playing drums to me, the of all the things I love about drums, like, you know, the part of the drums by themselves can be a very lonely process. That's the one thing I'm missing a lot of the time. And with modules like this, and really all you get under the hood, like the playback tracks and even the click, all, like, it's a musical click. The playback tracks are contemporary. Like, you know, they will fit, you know, like songs that you've heard on the radio or that maybe you need to learn for a gig. So whatever you're working on, there's options to play along with these musical tracks that feel good. So you're right back into playing music right away. Because, like, I like drums. I love the hell out of music. So it allows me to kind of like get in that musical world right away, because so far in my 20 years, no one's hired me for that solo drum gig yet.
Yet.
You know, yet. I gotta, you know, get some creative mark. Maybe if I get on TikTok, I can
There you go.
Work it out. But you know, it gets you to be playing music, and which is going to help you as you make that transition to go play with people. And especially now, the exciting part, as we're opening up, and even with the digital world, you're with this instrument, with the plugging in a USB or your audio or your MIDI, all the many options you have a vehicle to virtually or unfortunately in person again, hopefully sooner than later, make music in a variety of ways. And say you're going to go jam with some jazz dudes, but you know, we all aren't fortunate to have a jazz, you know, an 18-inch bass drum, and you know, and then also have the 24-inch for the rock and roll gig, and the 22 for the pop, and like all the options that, like, you know, we have a lot that have mass and that have to be lifted and go in a car. You can easily change your sounds and build these kits to make, you know, and they've done a great job with these presets, which is amazing, that you pull up the jazz kit, it's going to sound like a jazz kit. And then with the ADSR and the polyphony that's preset on here, you're going to be able to play it like a jazz kit and hear it like a jazz kit, and then play music with other people on a jazz kit. It's, you know, and then you can go play your Swedish metal tune, you know, with the flip of a knob. Because
nothing goes combine genres, because that's probably going to be the next thing, is jazz Swedish metal.
There you go.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah, then
maybe not in my lifetime, but in someone's lifetime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of incredible that if you and to kind of tie it all up, because if someone's either just tuning in or has watched the whole thing, as again, I keep reiterating, I'm a guitar player, but from what I'm gathering from this thing, it's a very easy to use drum kit that has a multitude of sounds built in that can be tweaked, but then can be expanded upon. You can convert the kit any way you want by, like, if you got the DTX6 and wanted something like a 2 or a 3 later, you could just get those pads later because the brain is essentially exactly the same. You have this Wreck and Share app if you want to do stuff with getting creative on social media. You have pads that feel more nuanced to closer to an acoustic kit, so it's not like, for us guitar players, playing an electric and acoustic is like a totally different experience, but you're at least bridging that gap a little bit better between e-kits and acoustic kits. And I so far have no questions about understanding the kit, and I don't think anyone else has had questions about that. I think it's just been basically pretty self-explanatory. Like, you guys have it easy. You guys just have to say the features, because most of them, and there are people I'm friends with at Yamaha when we do these things, they have to expand upon a feature because some people, like, it's a great feature, but then they have to go explain the definition. What does that definition mean? You guys are just like, yeah, it's got an ambient knob. You turn it, it sounds like this. What else do I need to say? And that's and I meant to say that when you were turning that knob, that even if it was all the way down, if you like that kit sound without any ambiance on it, ambience, however you want to pronounce it, the cool thing is if you wanted to record that sound as a kit and then use whatever plugins on your DAW, say you have a favorite reverb or chorus, or you want to send and do that, you have a drum kit. Now the rest is up to you as far as what you want to do with customization. That's the thing about this kit. It's the tools to get you started, and then you can build upon them however you want, very simply, no matter what your skill level is. This isn't there. Otherwise, they would have called this the Yamaha DTX6 beginner kit or pro kit, but it's not. It's not going to be put in that bubble or in that box. It's just the DTX6, because anyone should walk in and go, huh, let me play this, and probably end up playing it and loving it. And if you have the opportunity to go to a Sam Ash store, highly recommend sitting behind one of these kits, whether it's the K, the K2, or the K3. Just sit behind it, feel it out, play it. I can't imagine what you wouldn't like about this kit unless you're very finicky. But and look, Yamaha's got a huge range of kits, so maybe it's not the DTX6. Maybe it's something else out of their line, because they have great acoustic kits, they have great E-kits. But if you're looking for an affordable kit that will, again, it's $999.99. Let me pull up the page again so we could see this kit. That's still the brain of it, but let me find, where did I hid the page? There it is. You're hiding behind this window. So let's show you. I mean, it's a beautiful kit, very simple to see, understand, use. It works, and also we didn't go too much into it, but it works like an acoustic kit in the sense that you've got chokeable cymbals. You were saying little things about, like, with the polyphonics, where if you wanted to do that kind of roll on a cymbal or a snare, it sounds more authentic to the acoustic style than it would to an E-kit. We've got financing on it because our friends from Yamaha love to make sure you have some way to afford it. So $42 a month ain't that bad for 2 years, which is pretty awesome with the Sam Ash Music gift card. Excuse me, not gift card, unless you have a really good friend. Sam Ash Music special financing card, I should say, comes with all of this. I'm not going to read this off because I would think most people can read this, and it's on our site. We've also got the 2K and the 3K. This is a great kit. It's a no-brainer type kit if you're looking for, especially now that you got dads and grads happening soon. We're in April. You got to get that grad that's a drummer going from music school. They need a new E-kit. One of these is a great option. If you have a dad who wants to play on a kit, another great option for that. Heck, if you have a husband and you have a daughter or son graduating college, get 2 kits. Get them from Sam Ash Music. I'm not going to tell you no. They don't want to share the same kit. Give them 2 kits. See, this is me being a great salesman. So, jokes aside, I
don't think you can share kits anymore because of COVID, right?
Well, yeah, there you go. Unless you get that vaccine. Exactly. See, you're helping me. You're helping us. This is how we work in tandem. See, that's a great salesman right there. But yeah, this is an awesome kit. I'm digging it. I love it. And again, it's not like if we didn't start off with saying how much it was, people would be like, oh, I'm going to guess it's like $299.99, something ridiculous because it's got all these features. No, it's $999.99, and it's, again, that's an investment of $999.99. Yep. It's not going to be you could play this kit for 20 years and still get your money's worth out of it, because between being able to exchange the pads and and you also have a module that never goes obsolete, because as long as you can change the kits sounds wise, you're golden. And that Wreck and Share app, I mean, that ties it all up if you want to do something. That's great. But I'm curious. Before I announce the giveaway winner, do you have it set up, Mike, that you can maybe even do the Wreck and Share app? Because it might be cool. No pressure if you're able to record something and then maybe we post it later so people can see what you did.
Right now, at the moment, I can't, but I can definitely pull up the app later, and I can send it over to you guys, and then that way we can have an example of this setup.
That'd be great.
Record Share, excuse me. Yeah, and that's a really great app, and even I've had that with students and just people that I even meet on the road. That like I tell them about the app, and I tell them about a lot of this stuff because I'm constantly running around with different gadgets with me, being a hybrid drummer, and everything. That when I've told them about that app, I've had people from all over the world like use it and send me videos excitedly. And what's great, I can totally hear what they're doing. It's zero compromise, and it's fun, and it's easy. And sadly, in a lot of ways, of like those of us with multi-camera studios and doing all this stuff, sometimes you pull up like the apps like that and go like, yeah, or I could have just done that. And because it's like it's really good. There's no compromise. It's great audio quality. It's amazing video quality, and it's so tactile that you can just edit it like right then, right now, done. Send it to your friend, send it to your teacher, send it to the internet, and you're good to go.
Do you hear that, Guitar Division? The Wreck and Share app. I'm expecting that. 2022. Let's have that happen. I'm patient. I'm waiting. So, but again, jokes aside, this is. I mean, you guys. I'm a guitar player, and you've sold me on how awesome this kit is. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up anything. It's a great kit. I can't imagine what anyone wouldn't like about this kit. And we have people that were flooding the comments just saying, I love Yamaha. I love Yamaha this. I love Yamaha that. I have a Yamaha this and I love it. No one has anything bad to say about you guys ever. You guys have it so easy. How is that possible?
We make some good stuff. And I just want to point out the Wreck and Share app is free. So you could download it right now and just see what it's worth to you. Yeah. There's no obligation. We're not selling your information. It's just download it and check it out. And tell me it's not a great practice tool, because as soon as you import a tune, it shows you the tempo, speed it up, slow it down. And the other thing that I've done is it has a loop function. So this is great for two things that I've practiced. One is like you take a section, like it's an intro to a song, and I'm working on my bass drum. Maybe I'm working on my bass drum chops. So I just want to kind of play this thing. It's kind of a tune that I figured out. And I could just loop that beginning of the tune and play it over and over and over again, and then slow it down and then gradually speed it up so I can kind of work on my doubles, triples, or whatever it might be. The other thing is, too, like we were talking about that fill that you could never figure out from 2112, you can actually slow it down and loop it over and over and over again until you kind of get the vibe of it, and then you start to speed it up and get it back up to speed. It is one of the best practice tools you could find. And it's better than having somebody sit there with your record player and drop the needle and then drop it back again and drop it back again. You don't need that anymore, which is really, really cool. And it's free. You can check it out for free. So I just encourage anybody watching, if you haven't seen it yet and haven't checked it out, it's worth doing. Now, I do want to mention too, with the module, you're going to need a cable. There's a couple cables you can find on Amazon, some Apple cables too that'll work from the back of the module into your iOS device or Android device. So that is an investment that you have to make, but it's not too bad. And honestly, once you have it, you won't know how you've ever played drums without it, because you'll be able to see the video. You can even set up other videos or phones around your room, and you can do multi-camera and drop it into your editing software, and you've got that stereo audio track that you can just drop and kind of make a cool music video if you want. Just drop it into iMovie or something like that, simple, and you can do 3-4 cameras if you want. So it's one of those things that makes it so simple. It's amazing how easy it is and how much fun that makes it, because again, you're not spending your life trying to figure out how to be a video editor. You're not trying to, work on, that's a little too much compression on this channel, blah, blah, blah. Or the audio track is too hot. It's too soft. You can do it right from there. So great tool, something worth checking out for sure.
That's one of the big things that just to touch on, like, because all the functionality, like, you're never going to be handcuffed from no matter where you're sitting, however you're using it as a tool. But even just as an instrument, like, the thing that we forget so much is that, like, it's fun. And like I've had to remind myself when, like, I ask younger players, or I'm talking to students now, of like, I've been like, you understanding this, you understanding that, like, double check, are you having fun? And then it's sonically just getting them behind the kit, using the tools, having that experience of changing the sounds. You have options to make it fun for yourself or for your students or for your listener. So like, it's just fun. Like the EAD, it's awesome, has a ton of features, and it's fun. All the DTX kits, the new DTX Pro, the 600, it has so much. Like you're not gonna you're gonna have to spend a lot of time, and you'll be seeing how much you can actually do under the hood because in so little time, you're going to be able to get results. You know, there's so much to offer, but I'm really having fun playing the kit and feeling it and what I'm hearing back.
Yeah, and just to that point too, Mike, the kit modifiers, so you can take one kit that we've given you in the box, just kit number 1, Absolute Hybrid Maple, and you can change the sound thousands of different ways within seconds. And remember, you know, people talk about touch screens and color screens and all these kind of fancy little things that you see on some of these modules, but if it doesn't sound good, it doesn't matter how cool the screen is. Second of all is we've made it so easy. Those tactile knobs, that's a big thing. If you look at some of the synthesizers and keyboards we're doing now, we're going back to knobs and things that are physical because, as you know, if you ever worked in a virtual studio where you're sitting there trying to take the fader and stretch it up, you know, with your mouse or your your pointer, you know how much easier it is to have a tactile knob dedicated to that. And I for instance, the ambient, the effects, and the compression, you can change the sound of one kit thousands of different ways. So it's not like, yes, you've got 40 program kits, you can go, there's 200 user banks that you can fill up, but you can change the sounds thousands of ways in just a couple of seconds. And that right there means that you're not really limited or just kind of, this is this kit. Because I think a lot of boxes or a lot of modules, what you hear is what you get. And a lot of times it's 50 kits that you'll never use, right? You know, so that's the other thing that kind of, you know, bums me out about some of these electronics out there. This is fun, easy to engage, easy to be creative with it, and it's just engaging and fun.
So what I'm thinking is, I want Mike to demonstrate the sounds of this kit, but I did promise people someone was going to win this FP9, so I'm going to announce this. So Mike, do you want to do just a quick little drum roll so we can announce who won the drum kit? You don't have to go crazy with the echo thing, just like... And the winner is Eric M. from Phoenix, Arizona. So congrats, Eric. We are going to email you ASAP to let you know how to receive this kit, what we need to know so we can send it to you. Kit, that'd be nice, but this pedal. So you got a brand new awesome pedal. We'll figure out whether you want the chain drive or the direct drive, but either way, you're getting a brand new Yamaha drum pedal. But I do want to say few quick things. First of all, if you're interested in this kit, you can buy it at samash.com or you can buy it in stores. All of our stores are open. We are practicing every safe measure possible. We're wearing masks. We require our customers to wear masks regardless where we have a store. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but you have to wear a mask to be in our store. We are going to be, and still do, sanitize every surface before and after use. We can also offer curbside assistance. If you still don't feel comfortable being physically in the store, we could bring gear out to you and do the whole transaction over the phone. We want to make this as simple and easy as possible. Outside of that, we also want to say that you can follow us on social media for this and future interviews and content. Just find at Sam Ash Music on any socials. Same applies to Yamaha. You can find them on all socials at Yamaha Music USA. You can check out the entire line of DTX6 kits on samash.com, like I said, if you just wanted to learn more about them. And on top of that, I want to say thank you to all of you, Matt, Mike, and Joel. Thank you so much. This has been awesome, informative. My wallet is now quivering, wondering when I'm going to have a DTX kit, so thank you for that. And my wife is not thrilled, I'm sure, if she's watching this, knowing that I might need to get this kit in my life. But thank you guys, really. This has been awesome. It's been a blast. And Mike, let's hear some more drums, and then we'll call it a day, I guess. But before that, do you guys have anything to say, Joel, Mike, or Matt?
Well, just thanks for having us.
Definitely want to say thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, with the going into a Sam Ash, I just went into my local one last week, and yeah, I mean, everyone was great, very knowledgeable, and just enjoyed the experience. And before this, I was already a germaphobe, so going into public spaces, but everything totally clean and safe, and it was awesome. Like they're doing a great job there. So
yeah, I've used it.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you to you guys, because it's allowing us to still be able to get professionally get our hands on the product. We need to go to work when work has become a new thing, a lot. So to be able to do that safely and effectively has been great. So thank you to the entire team. It's been fun, and thanks for having me here today. This was really cool.
Absolutely. All right, so Mike, we're going to give you the center stage. Go wild, play with the sounds. Do it. You can mute us, keep in mind. So make sure you have that high res audio. Play with sounds, play with little knobs and stuff. Show us everything this kid can do, and then we'll call it a day. Goodbye.